Hey, this is Greg from SoldNextWeek.com, and I just want to give you a little overview again on how our investment company can really help not only you as an agent with your short sale properties, but also how it helps your seller as well. Our company's been buying homes since 1997. We're a member of the Better Business Bureau, and to be honest with you, when we first got into doing short sales, we didn't want to deal with them. Tried a bunch in the beginning, and it had all the hassles and all that stuff, and we just kind of put it to the wayside. But they become such a big part of the market. We really looked into it, and we found a great program that we're following that really helps increase the success rate of getting these things to closing by getting past a lot of the obstacles you'll see out there. Some of the big problems you've probably been experiencing with your short sales, if you're listing them, is you got to get a buyer for them. You got to negotiate that thing through the bank. And even if you have a negotiator that handles it, you still got to worry about your buyer either flaking out and jumping out of the process because it takes so long, or something comes up at the last minute, like your seller doesn't want to sign the promissory note that the bank asked for. They don't. They've got some incidentals that they didn't tell you about, like real estate taxes or some last minute lien or something that comes up that might prevent them from actually selling it unless it gets paid off, and the buyer doesn't want to pay for that. So there are a lot of things that came up and that comes up during the process. And when you're dealing with us, the one good thing about it is we iron all that stuff out, because we're going to come in and give an offer that we're not going to walk away with. We're going to negotiate it all the way through the process at no cost to you or your seller. And at the end of the process, we're also going to try to fight to get it so your seller doesn't have, or basically has a limited future liability. There's a way in which you can, kind of massage it to make it so, again, that seller walks away with limited liability, because that's really what they're looking at. They want to avoid foreclosure, and they want to walk away the best they can without, someone hounding them, basically for the difference, which the bank still has that right to do. Again, our process is tries to handle all that to make it a nice, easy package that kind of flows through. We also make it beneficial for the buyer that's coming in, because instead of not knowing when the heck this thing's going to close, we'll have a good idea of the time frame of when it's going to close. So when we get offers that come in, we can tell the buyer, hey, if you're not willing to wait 60 days or 90 days, don't bother. And at some point, we're going to have this thing short sale verbally approved, and we'll be able to place it in there and get this thing sold, lickety split. So that's, again, really the benefit of working with us as an investor. Get you to the closing table where you don't have to worry about dealing with the banks, and get you a full commission. We're going to fight for your full commission, where our negotiating doesn't cost you anything to you or your seller. And your seller wins because, again, it's a limited future liability. That's one of the things we're really going to fight for and strive for in this process. And how do we do that? We really do it by adjusting our price. Unlike a seller or a typical buyer that comes in and gives you a full price offer, you've got no negotiating room whatsoever. Because if there's something that needs to be paid, some kind of incidental, or the bank says, hey, we want to make the seller sign a promissory note, it's not like you can go back to the buyer and go, hey, can you do us a favor, increase your offer $5,000 to account for this or pay for this bill? Your buyer's going to be like, no way. More than likely, which buyer is going to want to do it? More than likely, they've given you their highest and best offer anyway. So what we do is we've got some wiggle room with our offer price in there, so if the bank does come back and say, hey, we want this to happen, or there's some kind of bill that comes up, we can adjust the price to kind of account for that, to offer the bank an incentive to do away with those items, or to pay any kind of incidental bills that come up. So again, it makes for a good win-win-win situation for everyone. I encourage you, again, if you've got a short sale listing lead, to give us a call, and we'll be happy to work with you. If you've got some additional questions, either email us or give us a call. Look forward to working with you.